of Earth, and they have a few astronauts and cosmonauts and so on in it. So it was a very big moment for America, very, very great achievement for them. And at the same time, in one of the cities, one of the major cities of America, a man in some minority community, he was killed while in police custody, and that sparked riots all over America. Unnecessarily, so many people in those riots, so many businesses, so much property was destroyed. So this is the and the persons engaging in the riots say they also engage in looting. That is, that it's our right to take this because you killed one of us. It's our right to take all this from you. So this is, again, these two examples: dog civilization in action. The people can't have peace. Even though they're putting rockets on the moon or into outer space, they still can't help but behave like cats and dogs. So this is a complete waste of the human form of life. So here's another thought experiment. Let's take the biggest philanthropists in the world. The philanthropist means someone who uses his wealth and power to benefit human beings. Usually they give lots of food distribution, they open schools and hospitals for the benefit of the general public and so forth, and educational institutions. And let's take all the wealthiest philanthropists like the Bill Gates and the Sundar Pichai and all these people. They do great things. Put them on one side. All those richest, wealthiest people who do benefit for good works for human beings. And then on the other side, let's take the saintly people. Okay? Not even just, those saints in Vedic tradition, but you take your Jesuses, you take your holy men. Okay? Now let's say you take everything from them. Okay? Let's say you take everything away from them. Take all their money. Shri Shri Radha Parthasarthi Lalita Vishaka Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gornatai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanumanji Ki Jai. So let's say you take everything from both sets. Let's say you take all the wealth, all the prestige, everything from them. Now, you've taken everything from them. Who's still great? Are the philanthropists great anymore? They don't have anything to give to people? Do the philanthropists have good character? Not necessarily. Sometimes these great philanthropists, they engage in philanthropy so that people will think they're good, and that's good for their business. So the philanthropists truly have nothing. They're like starving dogs now. Instead of fat dogs, they're like starving dogs. Now look at the saintly people. They have nothing. But what do they have? They still have their wonderful divine qualities. Isn't it? What kind of wealth do the saintly people have that is so valuable that it cannot be destroyed by anything, it cannot be taken, it cannot be stolen, it cannot be forged? Just like there's a problem with money. Some people outside of the government, they print money and then they distribute that and they get rich, or they buy things with that fake money. So the saintly people, the saints, engage in God realization, in Krishna realization. And therefore, the saintly people have realized what is the purpose of human life. They engage in self-realization. So we see that whether you go to the heavenly planets, whether you go to the hellish planets, or on this planet, a person, there's some facility for sense gratification. Even in the hellish planets, not much. Even in the hellish planets, it's maybe a little tiny bit of relief from sense gratification. That's or from pain. That's the sense gratification. And in the heavenly planets, there's so much sense gratification that you forget that there's anything but sense gratification. So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he says in there, is that rich men, we see that rich men, that they very seldom take to God consciousness or Krishna consciousness because they're just too much engrossed in their dog-like activities. So, therefore, the saintly people are somehow or other trying to benefit all classes of people. We see that one time the sons of Kuvera is the treasurer of the demigods. So the sons Manigriv and Nalakuvera once were reveling. They were having enjoyment with many beautiful women in heaven, and they were drunk and they were so naked that when the saintly Narada Muni came, the women who were modest, at least they put their clothes back on in the presence of Narada Muni, but Manigriva and Nalakuvera were so drunk that they stood before him naked. So what did Narada Muni do? He cursed them. He cursed them to become trees. You want to stand naked? You stand naked like trees. But he also gave them a benediction that when Lord Krishna comes, he can free you from this curse. He will free you from this curse. So, after Lord Krishna performed his Damodar Leela and he uprooted the twin Arjun trees, and out came the demigod, the Manigriva and Nalakuvara, they offered their thanks to Krishna for having, and their thanks to Narada Muni for having chastised them. So just see that if somehow or other you don't go back to Godhead, but you end up in the heavenly planets, practically speaking, to save you from that polished animal life of sense enjoyment in the heavenly planets, you need to be strongly cursed just to be saved from that. That's the danger of going to the heavenly planets. You might forget your Krishna consciousness, at least for a while. And at least while your Krishna consciousness is forgotten, you have to suffer. So what's one of the symptoms of pure devotion? It brings immediate relief from all kinds of material suffering. Why is that? Because once one becomes Krishna conscious, one sees Krishna in relation with everything, including one's own suffering. Therefore, one sees that whether pleasure or pain, this is all sent by Krishna. And therefore, one does not regret or lament that this has come to me, I am lost. No, one does not lament like the materialist when one is Krishna conscious. So, just imagine if someone could take that total relief from all kinds of material distress and put it in a bottle. See, everybody has so many bottles here with water. And put it in a bottle and sell it on the market like some drug. would they not become the richest man in the world? Isn't it? But we actually have that. We have that solution. So therefore, the devotees, those who are following the Krishna consciousness, they can give this medicine to the suffering people in the world, and they can give the highest benefit to anyone and everyone. So part of our business is convincing the world to somehow or other take this medicine. It's the medicine of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The people in this world are fools and rascals. They have forgotten their relationship with Krishna. They're acting in so many contrary ways, just like cats and dogs, camels and asses. This is the truth, and there's no point in hiding it. Of course, sometimes just to get people to listen to us, we sometimes flatter them. So, oh my dear sir, you're such a wonderful man. You're so wealthy, you're so cultured, you're so refined. Now please give up all this nonsense and take to Krishna consciousness. So sometimes we do like that. Because otherwise, if they're not very advanced, then okay, I'll stay in my $1 billion mansion, my 100-core mansion, and you can't come in. You go out, you can say whatever you like, and I'll stay inside and I'll enjoy. So sometimes we have to flatter like that. But at the same time, our business can't just simply be flattery and just filling temples with dogs and cats. Of course, we want people to come to the temple. Because they're humans, they have some facility to come and get the mercy of the Lord. But the greatest mercy comes not by seeing, comes by hearing. Just like if you see an ordinary man before you, let's say nobody knew who the Prime Minister of this country was, nobody in this room. And let's say this gentleman came in and sat down among us. Now, if we didn't know who he was, we might think he's an ordinary man, but he's not an ordinary man. Because he's not an ordinary man, of course, he can give special facilities. Oh, you want temple here? I agree, I approve. And then you will have a temple there, like that. Of course, it's Krishna, ultimately, who's the most important person. If Krishna says, I want you to have a temple here, I want their temple to me be here, there will be a temple there, without doubt. So, power, like wealth and like beauty, is also an intoxication, is also intoxicating. It can also blind you. So very powerful people, they think I'm very powerful, why should I listen to this person, why should I consider this? They want more power. They get more power, and so forth. So, such people are also deluded. They're big dogs rather than small dogs. So they also too miss the opportunity for human life. So the saintly persons have to be convinced they have to become fully Krishna conscious. And when one is fully Krishna conscious, then the Lord himself gives the direction by which one can preach to people. Isn't it? If Krishna is the cause of all causes, then success or failure in whatever we do also comes from the Lord. So, what is it? Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva samadvam yoga uchite. So Krishna, in the beginning of the Gita, tells Arjuna that you should do your duty being equipoised. So equipoised means you're steady in doing it. You may do it well, you may do it poorly, but you're doing your duty. He says, do your duty equipoised, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. And then he says, such equanimity is called yoga. Doing your duty regardless of success or failure. How is this even possible? It's possible because the Lord is the cause of all causes. So there are 5 factors which determine the success of any outcome. 5 factors. This is the person, the place, the many kinds of endeavor. What is it? How does the verse go? Huh? Yeah, the super soul. And so, adishtanam tata karta, karanam cha pratag viram, vivedas. Okay, I'm not remembering completely. But Daivam is the final one. Daivam is the final one. So you may be able to do a job, or your inability to do a job determines whether you can do something at all. There's the circumstances that one may find in. Even you're able to do something, but things may not work out. For some reason, it's just not there. There are different kinds of endeavors. You may endeavor very hard, or you may not give much endeavor at all. Just like if you don't study for an exam, you're not going to pass. If you study for an exam, you might still not pass, but if you don't study, you definitely will not pass your exam. But then sometimes we see that things somehow or other just work out. You don't know why, you don't know how, but it works out. Sometimes sometimes you just have that experience. I can remember in the days when I used to do book distribution as a full-time service. I remember that one day I was in the Chicago O'Hare Airport, and people were just not taking books from me. And I was very dejected. This is Christmas marathon, the December marathon. And so I thought, okay, time to actually apply this knowledge. I'm just going to do books. Things might go out. I might be successful. I might not be successful, but I'm going to distribute books. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. And somehow, magically, people started taking books from me. It was like you could see at that point that this was not you that was actually making things happening, but that was actually making Krishna happening. So that freedom comes by surrendering to Krishna, by understanding, by gradual progress in Krishna consciousness, by even just a little understanding of Krishna as the supreme cause of all causes will free you from all kinds of miseries and anxieties. That is why even the new Bhakta who's going on book distribution is so ecstatic. I remember one time I was on, I think I was doing book distribution, and I think I was in downtown Chicago. And I was having a miserable day. It was pretty difficult. Then someone came up to me and said, "You know what?" He said, "You look completely happy." I say, I do. Really? I say, okay, I guess I must be happy then. Because even I didn't realize it, even though superficially I was having a bad day, somehow or other, just by being absorbed in the service of distributing transcendental literature, Srila Prabhupada's books, somehow I was kept imperceptible to myself above that platform, but then Krishna sent somebody around to say, hey, actually, you're doing okay. So, there's a few more important points in this verse. You'll notice that, Prabhupada, he says, an intelligent person actually interested in getting freed from material clutches must associate with pure devotees. So, this association with the pure devotees is very important because this is what gives you the enthusiasm to take up devotional service and continue with it. Without the association of such pure devotees, it's very difficult to take up or continue in devotional service. So therefore, especially in the beginning, one is advised to serve the pure devotees. Shushusho Shraddhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatsevya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana. So to get the Ruchi for Vasudeva Kata, one must serve those devotees who are freed from all vice. They have no faults in them because they are absorbed, they are themselves absorbed. So sometimes people ask, I'm having difficulty in my Krishna consciousness, I'm having difficulty chanting and so forth like that. Well, how can I overcome that? Well, this is self-realization 101. Associate with a pure devotee and serve him. In other words, just don't hang around with a pure devotee, just like a fly, okay? Fly can associate, but flies, the maki, comes and he causes disturbance. Or a mosquito, okay? A mosquito comes, he also associates with saintly person, but he comes to bite the saintly person and suck his blood. So don't engage in that kind of association with saintly person. Be useful, help them, and they will give you the blessings to continue in Krishna consciousness. So, there's other mention. By such association, one can gradually become detached from the material attraction of money and women. And Prabhupada mentions this, I think, another couple times. Yeah, 2 or 3 times. Money and women are the basic principles of material attachment. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised those who are actually serious about returning back to God to give up money and women in order to enter into the kingdom of God. So there's association with devotees, there's their personal conduct, and there's something also called culture. This is Vedic culture. This is the Shishtachar. Shishtachar is the part of this. So there's a way of life that is helpful for us and helpful for others in helping us become Krishna conscious. So therefore, we see that in Vedic civilization, that vairagya is considered, that one who advances in vairagya, one is considered to advance in consciousness. Therefore, according to Vedic principles, when a king reaches the age of 50, or anybody in the higher classes reach the age of 50, that they should retire from their material life and go to the forest and perform severe austerities. Instead, we see a materialist civilization that politicians, they hang on till they're 80, 90 years old. They're stealing money from the people somehow. They're to enrich themselves or their family members. And they even die in office. And when they die, that there's so much praise for these people. Oh, this person was such a great servant to the country, and he had lots of Desh Bhakti, and he was such a great person, and so forth. But was he? Was he really? If he's politician, that means he's occupying highest post in society. What kind of example is he setting? He's setting the example, again, it's the example of the cats and dogs. What does a cat and dog do? They try to hang on to their life, they try to enjoy it up to the last minute. That kind of action benefits nobody. It doesn't benefit the person who's engaged in such dog-like activities, and it does not engage the people who are their followers. So the high-class people, the leaders of society, they should lead in vairagya. And because the brahmanas are the true heads of society, whether some people know it or not, those who lead in vairagya, therefore it's part of being brahmana to follow a life of vairagya. So that means being simple in our habits, simple food, simple clothing, not too many clothes, and so forth. I just had a close friend of mine, a devotee. He lives in Coimbatore. And so his father recently passed away. And he himself is from a Brahmin family, Sri Vaishnava Brahmin family. And he himself is a scholarly devotee. So when his father passed away, he called for a priest to come to perform the last rites. And the priest said, I can't come, I have some other engagement. He said, shall I call a smarta? Because there wasn't a Vaishnav Brahmin available. And he says, no, do not call a smarta. So he didn't know what to do, so that was the end of the phone call. But that devotee, that priest, Vaishnav priest came anyway. And so my friend, he gave the priest $500, 500 rupees, to pay for his transportation. And the priest took the money and he gave him 200 rupees back. And so he asked him, he says, why did you give that money back? I gave that money for you. He says, no, I only needed, my transportation actually cost me only 300 rupees, so that's all I needed. That's an exemplary standard of behavior. Just he's a brahmana, he's not very well to do, but he's only taking what he needs, not more than that. And because such people are controlled in their senses like that, you can trust them. They command that respect. They don't ask for respect. They don't say, I got so many votes, now you must follow me. People immediately give such people respect because of their qualities. So this is what it means to be a brahmana, that standard of vairagya. So Vaishnava culture, Vedic culture means minimizing our attachment to material things, to money and women. How to get by on less, not more. How to be satisfied with less, not more. Distancing ourselves from association with women. Now, Pumsastriya mitani bhavametam, that the principle of material life, according to Lord Rishabhadev, is the attraction between male and female. So we see that on account of this attraction, so many people get into so much trouble. So there's another devotee, also from a Brahmin family. He was telling me that in his household, he had a younger sister. And growing up, his younger sister, like daughter, she would help in preparing breakfast for, you know, the family members in the house. And so every morning, she would prepare a glass of milk for her father and bring it to him. Then one day, father asked her, after she brought milk to him, he says, "How old are you?" And she said, like, she's 10 years old. 10, maybe 11 years old, like that. Then he said to her, "From this day, you cannot bring me any milk, any food, anything. Only your mother can do that." So the culture is the realization, is the practical realization of the instructions in the Bhagavatam. We find both in Bhagavatam and Manusmriti this verse, Matra swasvara duhitra va na viviktasano bhavit. Indriya balavan gramo vidvamsams api karishyati. That one should not sit on the same seat with one's mother, sister, or daughter. For the senses are so powerful that even if one is a highly cultured man, a highly cultured, intelligent man, he may still be overwhelmed by sex attraction. But we see the opposite, that in material civilization, they encourage, you know, the men and women to associate with each other. They dance with each other. They, you know, these Bollywood dance numbers and TV serials where they are, you know, like the men and the women are looking at each other like real intently because, you know, the lust. So it gets them into so much trouble. Now, this is probably why devotees aren't, like, you know, creating this kinds of literature, because we have a solution. Well, we'll solve the problem. Just keep the men and women apart. Be good men, be good women, do your duties, and you'll have no problem. You won't have any drama. You won't have TV shows like Noggin or anything like that, because there'd be no point. So again, it's cat and dog civilization. It creates so much trouble. It's a distraction from the primary goal, from the goal of life, which is to realize, which is Krishna realization, Krishna consciousness. So it's 9 o'clock now, and I think I've spoken enough. So I'd like to stop here and take any questions, if anyone has some. So, yes, Prabhuji. I'll repeat your question. Speak loudly, because I have 30 years of cartel smashing in my ears, which does something to your hearing.
And the two examples you gave about the devotees, about like how this, a priest who is very honest, exemplary behavior, and so so actually I want to go deep into the notes and go deep into the verse. So what matter I can read, or what matter I can do, what material I can read, and so that I will be able to apply, take the teachings completely from this verse and the notes you have given, and the words you have spoken in the lecture. Actually, I have to apply that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to apply that, I need some like. So that's the purpose of my question. I have to apply that. So please tell me something
So what's
more
your
about
question?
it.
What is your question?
So my question is, actually I want to maintain the simplicity. I want to maintain the simplicity. So of the Brahmana, and honesty, and and it's one of the 26 qualities also. Honesty, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verse 1, 2, and 3. So my question is, actually I want to go deep into this verse so that I can meditate, contemplate, and so please tell me some things I can read, just like Srila Prabhupada tells in the lectures that you can read that. And
Well, I'd start with Bhagavad Gita. Start with Bhagavad Gita. But it's really, Prabhupada was saying here that it just, you have to associate with a pure devotee, and that means serving him. It all begins with that. So you're here with many sadhus, so serve them. You know, make yourself useful.
And thanks a lot for the answer. And actually, I have devotees say that you took anxiety for sadhana, reading, hearing, and japa. But I'm poor in practical services. So how can I serve them if I'm good in sadhana?
Well, you just keep serving. You just keep trying. Remember, this is about abhyasa yogi yuktena cetasa nanya gamana. That's by abhyasa yogina, by yoga abhyas, right? So in the beginning, you don't have full attachment to Krishna. That's why you engage in yoga abhyas. Yoga abhyas is especially meant for those who are not perfect in their remembering Krishna. So by gradual advancement, you come. So you just have to stick with it.
And the
Is there anybody? Does anyone else have any questions? Any other questions? Okay. I think we'll stop here. It's people have services to do, but thank you for your attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.